That's the sound of Shedheads, a young three-piece band from Nelson who have just released their debut album called Big Milk. We gathered the three high school students together and asked them how they came up with their unique mix of hard rock and funk. But first, please allow them to introduce themselves to you.
Kia ora, I'm JP Moynihan. I'm the singer, trumpet player and bass player for Shedheads. Can you introduce yourself, bro?
I'm Shoei Ito. I play drums for the Shedheads.
Very good.
And I'm the guitarist for the Shedheads.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the Shedheads word and the vowels.
Yeah.
Has that been an issue at all?
Oh yeah, no, it's great fun. Especially at events where they've got an MC that need to introduce us and they've got to spell out our name.
Right.
They don't get kicked off stage. Yeah, it's quite funny. But yeah, it's always there.
All right, very good. And so the album is called Big Milk, and you have a song called Big Milk. So why have you chosen that one to represent the collection of tunes there?
And you say I can't go, even all I had to show. And this destiny between you and me is more than understanding. And I feel that I'm going on this grand vacation. And I know somewhere hidden in this cheap sensation, everything that I had to know was with you. Life just felt so slow, and everything that you had to be. I wish that you were a big milk like me.
Well, here's a bit of a story time for you.
Bring it on.
For the past couple of years, once a week we've been going to see this amazing guy, band tutor, mentor called Elijah Burton, who lives in Nelson, and he's helps younger bands get on their feet and all that. And so this was, every Monday or Wednesday after school. And, we'd go to the supermarket, get some food before we went there, so we weren't starving halfway through.
Right.
And so I like my flavors, so I bought a 2-liter bottle of banana milk one time to, drink up as I was waiting.
Ugh.
And we got bored outside his house, so we started playing catch with this bottle of milk, and then we threw it up real high, and I caught it above my head with the cap facing towards me.
Of course.
The cap came off, and I got absolutely covered in banana milk, all my uniform and everything.
Yep.
And then kind of from that experience, we were working on a song, Big Milk. And we were like, oh, it kind of lines up that we should call it that.
Yep.
And it's kind of turned into this funny just joke of, what is it? What does it actually mean? And it's really just as simple as me pouring milk in my...
You should try to recreate that for the music video for the song.
I like that idea. Well, we recreated it for the album cover. We've actually...
That's right.
That was made... We were standing underneath a bridge and we had our friends pouring flavored milk on us.
Nice.
So, yeah.
My feelings about bananas are only bananas should be banana flavored. Everything else, but
I can agree. I don't think of it as banana flavored. I just think of it as just flavored, really.
All right. So tell me about your musical background. What brought the three of you together? What musically connected you guys?
Well, back in year 10, with how old is that? 15?
14
and 15, I think. These two were going to start a band to play for Rock Quest, and then they were kind of searching around for a drummer, and then they found me. I'm not sure how these two linked up.
Okay, that'll be the next story. Fill us in, guys. How did you hook up?
I mean, I was kind of just, I don't know. I think we were in music class together at the time, and I knew JP was a bassist, so
right.
He was starting a band, so that's kind of how we met. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what kind of music were you listening to?
Oh, well, I think Shoei kind of lied a bit when he talked about how we met, because I met Shoei back in year 7, at Nelson Intermediate, and well, yeah, that's when we met, and so we kind of developed our taste in music. He introduced me to the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
So me and Shoei went down this funk route, and we were kind of, just always jamming out together. He played guitar and drums and bass, and I just played bass. So I stuck to that, and he went to the other things. And kind of when we got to Nelson College, I was pretty involved in that rock funk, and Ryan was into that. Just was like
Whatever.
he was into whatever. He was a rock guitarist. He could do most stuff, so kind of just slotted into that more rock funk vibe,
Right.
and especially with just we gelled real well in that style.
Okay. Are you guys still in school?
Yep.
Outrageous. All right. Fantastic. All right. Yeah. So I was looking for the funk as I was listening to the record, but then I came across "Throw Your Lighters Away," and I realized that's where it kind of sits on the record. Tell me a little bit about how that song and track came together.
Throw your lighters away. Throw your lighters away. And the showers of midnight spine are clothing for my bed. And how to find what's really going on, or what's really in my head.
We actually wrote that song in about half an hour. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Nice.
sure we're at rehearsal and we're just like jamming out, and it was just like started with some simple chords and we went from there.
yeah. I think it was the same process for a lot of our songs. Ryan had made. I think it was we were at yours the day before or something, because that's when you he had that riff,
Right.
the verses, and that brought us back to Let Me Know, the first song on the album, which kind of has that same kind of vibe. And it's a real, I call it like Kiwi funk feel, because a lot of New Zealand bands had that about like LAB and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
So we're like, oh yeah, let's follow this sound again. And we just kind of developed it. And it took a while to kind of figure out what direction we wanted to go for the chorus and all that. I think that's the hardest part. It's like developing the song.
Yep.
And we did it pretty quickly. It was like in one
Yeah.
day. In one day, we just kind of wrapped it up. And
I think at the time
really,
we were keen to get another song down that kind of funk route
mm,
because we had varied off a little bit into other genres, which is cool. But we always like making a good funk song, funk rock.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I hear a little bit of the reggae thing on So Much More. That's got that kind of, is that what the
Yeah.
LAB influence is, such as it is?
Yeah, no, he said LAB was definitely Throw Your Lighters Away and Let Me Know. With that, just the guitar, that chicka chicka chicka.
Yeah.
That. So Much More is like, to me, just if you wanted to embody a funk song, it would be that, like a cheeky wee funk song kind of thing.
Come on, won't you be my lover? Would you rather be some other? When you decide to come over less, would you treat me like the funk I bless? I like it when your hair's a mess. Still undecided if you be my guest. Another time my friends playing blind. Time to soak up all that night.
But yeah, I think a lot of our songs, like when we did go to the studio to record them, though, they were worked on, like just because we could record and because there's only three of us.
Yep.
We could one layer. It really grew the songs out. So Throw Your Lighters Away became a completely different song in the studio.
Right.
The trumpet parts and the harmonies and all that stuff. That's really where we finished the song.
Cool. Where'd you record? What studio?
We recorded with a fellow musician called Jack Rollinson.
Is that his real name? Okay.
And he plays in lots of bands as the guitarist and bassist. He's the bassist for Paper City,
Okay.
a pretty good, well-off band. And he had a recording studio in his basement.
Okay. Cool.
Did it. It was real cool. Lovely guy, did some great stuff, and real laid back, which was nice for us.
Yep.
We spanned up a long time. It was a big, long period of time that we recorded over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was just laid back. It wasn't like, oh, we need to get it done in a week. It was like, just come when you can and just record what we can. And
Right.
that's what we did.
So what did you learn about your music and yourselves as a band by spending so much time in the studio? Because it's different than playing gigs, right?
Yeah, it was in the studios, probably learned a bit more about just how things will change throughout songs. Mainly for me, like nothing's set in place,
Right.
and it's, especially when you go to record, like JP was saying, like stuff will get added to the song and things will change. So yeah.
Mm.
All right.
Um,
Is he the quiet one in the band?
Studio was that when we play our songs live, we naturally shift tempos between sections,
True.
but it doesn't seem like it until you play in studio to a click.
Right.
We had to kind of adapt to a little.
Speaking of that, one of our songs, Poker.
I was going to say poker. That's the shifting. Right on, baby. Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
with different time signatures and all that stuff. It was real hard. You can't do it with the click track, so we just did that intuitively and managed to keep it pretty rock solid.
Yeah.
So big ups to Shoei for that one. He just played it without a click and it lined up real well.
Anyway, I wish to say all of my life has stayed the same. Every day I contemplate a way to play this poker game.
Like, a lot of the songs, it was like, crikey, that feels real slow. Or
Uh-huh.
crikey, that feels real fast, because we're used to changing the tempos as we go in and out.
Yep. And you have a song called Actium, I think is how it's pronounced. It was almost prog rock, and it's got a pretty epic guitar solo in there. Tell me about that one.
Upon the gods of the future, there's just a far road already.
I think, again, they started with Ryan's guitar work.
Right?
Started with that real heavy riff. And I'm really bad at trying to keep it simple.
Right?
I really want to make it as complex as possible, which you can probably tell in a few songs maybe go a bit beyond what they should be, because of that reason. But in Actium, I was like, no, you know what, I'm going to go real simple and just follow what Ryan's doing. And it worked. We had that thing and we had that feel, and there was a certain emotion that came with the style.
Yep.
It was very gritty, angry kind of feel. But then the chorus kind of flipped it on its head completely,
Right?
And I went away on a trip to Japan for a couple of weeks. And so we couldn't really practice it. But I was like, I have recordings of what we've played. So I'll write the lyrics for it. And I was reading a book about, the Battle of Actium between Mark Antony and Augustus.
Right?
And I was like, this would be pretty cool if I could write a song about that, because it's about a battle. So you got the anger, but then it was also about his love for Cleopatra and all that. Fandango, like he was fighting to protect her against his own empire.
Yep.
And it was like this, just like every other song. This could be a love song as well, but it's entwined in that angry feel as well. So that was probably the best lyrical work I've done,
Cool.
and that's what it's about. Yeah. Also, when we wrote it, we were like, we should make this a 10-minute song because we want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you familiar with, you being the youngsters that you are, do you check out some of the classic prog rock of the 70s? Yes, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Rush and people like that?
Oh, my dad, I have to thank my dad for influencing me with that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't go without hearing that. But also being a bass player, I love my Rush.
Oh,
Not
yeah?
sure about you.
I don't really listen to those.
Yeah, I think I was maybe the bit of the driving factor with
All right.
that. But yes, that definitely had to come into play with it.
Okay, cool. And Ryan, who kind of inspired you as a guitar player?
I've always listened to a whole bunch of stuff. I wouldn't say I've got like one favorite genre, but
Yeah.
John from the Chili's
I
definitely.
thought, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they've been through a few guitar players, but he's the guy, isn't he? Yeah. So now that the record is out, have you been doing some shows, or what's the plan moving forward, as it were?
You.
Um, two. We got two coming up this month.
Okay.
Within a week of each other, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. One of them is with another local band that we're mates with, and then the other one is to celebrate the album.
Oh, cool.
I think it's the biggest gig that we've done for ourselves.
Right.
You know, we've booked out their venue. We've got sound guys there. Got a whole bunch of, important fancy words and fancy people kind of thing,
There you go.
Stuff like that happening. So we're real excited for that one. I think it's happening on the 31st of July.
Cool.
And it's just, we're going to play the album and
Yep.
see some new stuff and thank the people. We've got merch here and everything. So
That's the key. That's where the big money is, isn't it?
But yeah, it's a bit low on gigs going into winter, but
Yeah.
going to something to have a whole full schedule again, hopefully.
Cool. And so what's the Nelson scene like? Is there one? Or are you
Yeah.
it?
There's a lot of kind of organized events that happen throughout the year that support like youth bands to come in and showcase like their abilities and their music and that, which is pretty good. Like RockQuest obviously being the big one, but then
Right.
Council does a lot as well.
yeah.
There's lots of council events, and NMIT does stuff as well.
Mm.
I think the music scene, it's very interesting comparing the music scenes to different places. It is we've got like I've heard people say that we've got the best rock scene in the country,
Oh, cool.
which I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
And, when I go to Wellington and I listen to the bands there, they're completely different.
Yep.
The sound is just, I'm going to Christchurch and it sounds so much different. But I think Nelson's very indie rock orientated. And a lot of the bands, bands come and go because there's no university here. They end up going to different parts of the country.
Right.
So every year is different because new bands come in, bands leave. But it's always been around sound day. It's real interesting.
And any plans to head up north to Auckland and play?
Ooh, well, if we're invited, I'm sure we would.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Don't wait to be invited. Just come up and make it happen.
Right, I like that. I think we've applied for like a handful of festivals up there anyway.
Oh, good.
Just wait.
Yeah.
But I know that next year we'll be up in the North Island, probably in Wellington is our base of operations there.
All right.
So who knows where that will lead us? Hopefully up to Auckland.
And are you thinking about album number 2 already?
Yep.
Yep. I thought so. I could just tell. What do you think? What are your thoughts at this point?
But like four finished songs for
Oh, really?
second album at the moment, and yeah, still if we get together, there's always some new ideas. So very keen to keep pursuing that. But
Right.
Yeah. No, I think I'm looking forward to seeing about how what direction our sound goes.
Yeah.
So I mean, the first album kind of showed how diverse we can be with it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like the first album has kind of laid the groundwork. It's like I could go here, I could go there, I could go here. Now let's see what happens next, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think I want to aim for a shorter album because I recently found out Big Milk's too long to fit on a vinyl.
Oh, yeah. It's like 45 minutes long, 50 minutes long. Yeah. So you got to be careful with that.
So maybe the next one will be shorter. There's positives and negatives to both. Let's see what happens. We'll write music and put it out there. It's all that, what matters.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.